we are at a Kodak moment as a civilization and as a planet. There's really only one way forward that I know about, which is to expand access to innovation ecosystems to young people who can imagine and launch a different world. And the way to do that is to use what I like to call a tesseract. And a tesseract, as I described in this morning's presentation, we've already got one. Not the science fiction version and not the scientific version. There's no physical traveling through four-dimensional cubes. But virtually speaking, the internet allows us to connect young people who can see a better way with opportunities to try and fail and build allies as they do, and then access innovation ecosystems to launch those solutions in the world. We've already got, for the first time in history, the possibility of connecting someone anywhere. When Virginia Woolf, 90 years ago, wrote A Room of One's Own, it was based on a set of lectures she gave the previous year. She said for a woman to be a writer, now keep in mind there were very few published women writers at that time. In fact, the first New York Times bestseller list came out 2 years later in 1931, and the bestseller was aptly named Maid in Waiting. By the 1990s, finally, about half of the books on that bestseller list, I'm a New Yorker, so I look at the New York Times list, were written by women, right? We need to do the same thing now for innovation and entrepreneurship because, as I emphasized in this morning's talk, those levels are suppressed in Europe. 37 countries or 28, we've got only about half the level. If we change that, we can change the world, because what we've been doing is we've been losing the best of our talent and the people who know how to build and launch a better world. We need to connect her and him with those opportunities to try and fail and develop solutions and resource them to launch a different world. This is very much possible. I have a team that has built a software platform, the Rebel-based platform, which is free for the Rebel, meaning free for the young innovator to use, although we do charge organizations to use it. And what it enables you to do, if you are someone who can imagine a different world, is have the business toolkit. You have what I like to call the roadside toolkit for entrepreneurship. And what it enables you to do is to model your ideas, build a team, test them with markets, generate the business model and the impact model, and then draw resources, advisors, strategic partners, funders, talent, everything you need to try them and grow them. And the fact is, our capacity to do that globally is broken anyway. Venture capital is badly broken. Right now, venture capital is some privileged, in my country, man who looks across a table and invests in someone that looks like him and makes him feel comfortable. We need to change that because we are losing the solutions that we could be investing in to launch that better world. There's a reason we're losing it, and I emphasize this morning, right? Is that even though we're at a time where we have a tesseract, even though we have updated Virginia Woolf's formulation so that with that roadside toolkit for entrepreneurship and a broadband connection and a room of her own, a young innovator really can connect with an innovation ecosystem globally. And that's what the Rebel-based platform is designed to help her do. That having been said, we're losing the solutions. They're not being made. I call it the packet loss of entrepreneurship, the lost entrepreneurs. We are losing the social entrepreneurs and the innovators and the social innovators who can create the next industrial revolution. And that's what this morning's talk was about, is how to change that through the using the internet as a tesseract. Again, we do that by providing that toolkit, a connection, and a room of one's own.